music.
Joe, are you ready to do this?
Sure.
All right, hang on. I need headphones. Is this the triumphant return?
Couple of weeks. I think we missed 2 weeks, right?
I guess we're not friends anymore, Pat.
Okay, let me know what possibly I could have done to offend anyone.
At this point in your relationship.
At this point, you're not a fan of meteorology, are you? That got me in a little
Boy, you
trouble.
stirred him up.
I could go Banshees of Inisherin on you and tell you that I don't even think you should be sitting there. I think you should be sitting somewhere else.
Yes, yeah.
You said...
Don't be too mean to me. I might have to cut my fingers off.
You said, and I'll paraphrase, but I don't care if I get it wrong because we're not friends. You said something to the effect that anyone opposed to the pitch clock is no friend of mine.
No friend of mine.
I'm opposed to the pitch clock.
I have the same beef.
And I'll be glad to tell you why.
Sure. I know you feel that baseball goes too fast already, so you're a little upset.
That's not why he's mad. I know why he's
That's
mad.
not. I bet you do.
I do know why you're mad.
If the game is steeped in anything, it's historic. It's statistical history.
Okay.
No other game has a statistical history that can rival baseball. That's the
true.
whole
Tradition
foundation
is-
of the game.
Tradition is one of the number one appeals to baseball. Yes.
And I submit to you that a pitch clock introduces an asterisk from this day forward because it changes the whole nature of pitching. It changes the rhythm. It changes everything a pitcher might have been doing. It worked well for 150 years, and now you got to put a clock on it.
It worked well for
Bleep you! You're no friend of mine.
It worked well for 130, and it's been god awful for the last 20. Is the problem?
Then it could have been handled with better management at the top of the game.
Yes, but here, this is. I know traditionalists who are complaining about this. Somebody made a very good point. This is an attempt to get back to tradition when guys got up, got in the batter's box, and swung.
Then tell them to do that, or they get fined.
Well, you can't fine a guy because he doesn't.
Hell, you can't.
Because he doesn't feel like he has to swing at a 2-2 pitch.
No,
you can't. What do you think?
I'm with Patrick on this because
Me too.
if
Sure
you
you
go
are.
back and you watch, for instance, go watch that 1967
Yes.
game of the World Series that was 10-9. It was 2 hours and 38 minutes because
Big deal.
people got in the box, swung the
deal.
bat.
Then why doesn't the commissioner say, this is what you're going to do from now on? You're getting in the box and you're swinging.
You're
That's
making
what
the
he said.
assumption.
That's what he's
That's
saying.
what
That's
they are
he's doing.
saying.
No, he needed a clock to do it.
Well, they're going to. Yes, he needed.
Therefore, if you don't swing
he
in
needed
20
a
seconds.
punishment. He needed punishment for not doing that.
No.
There was a guy pitching for Tampa yesterday. Forget when did the Twins? Saturday, maybe.
Yeah, they played
Saturday.
Tampa on Saturday.
Saturday. This guy last year was third in the majors and took 24 and a half seconds per pitch. And so with one guy throwing 80 pitches, you're saving at least 10 seconds per pitch.
You're caving to a game that's trying to appeal to the people who aren't interested in it.
Brockmeyer.
Yes. Yeah, well, I think what the last
Give me the sound here.
the last year of Brockmeyer got a little over the top, I'll admit that, as far as changes. But I say this is a very gentle change. This is the
First of
My
many.
God, the anxiety
You've
it
opened the
caused.
floodgates.
Just watching a clip caused severe anxiety.
because it's too fast.
It's way too fast.
Bigger bases, ghost runners, pitch clocks.
That's
See
a
you
different.
later.
That's a different discussion.
that's a
But-
different argument,
But
yeah.
let me ask both of you and Kenny this, as I know the answer from Pat and John. How much baseball did you guys watch over the weekend?
I watched a
I
little.
know. I know you guys
watched
did. I know
zero.
you and John did.
I
Zero.
watched a whole bunch of hockey.
Okay, that's my point. It is not only is it noticeable, it's much more pleasing to watch the game at this pace.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
And
Joe, I thought I was going to hate it. I really did. I was fully prepared to go in and say, I hate this.
One question.
But it's great.
Is the viewing audience at home going to have to look at the clock?
I don't
Because
think you can-
that's what caused me anxiety.
you will for a while, but probably not forever. You know.
Yeah, and there over the weekend there were games with you couldn't see the clock that I watched.
Yes, I saw that too. And here's the other deal is when you see a guy like Louis Varlin, the kid that came up from North St. Paul last year, in his last 2 years, he's been working with a pitch clock. This kid doesn't, that the ball is thrown back in 10 or 11 seconds. He's not worried about whether the 15 or not. They trained these minor leaguers. This is the way you pitch. You get the ball back and let's go. You got some guys who've been in the big leagues who are going right down to the little. But I don't think many balls got called, right, in all of baseball over the
And
weekend.
if you miss the clock, you get a strike called on
Depends on who it's called on. If it's called on the batter, like it was for Manny Machado, yes, they're calling a strike on the batter.
Well, then can't you see hijinks developing here?
Totally, yes.
The
You can
batter,
see-
the batter has to be facing. Now that's kind of stupid. The batter has to be facing the pitcher within 8 seconds. With
right.
8 seconds left on the clock.
So
seconds
you
left,
got you got a great batter at the plate, and you know he's going to be late. Throw him one in the dirt. It's a strike.
Well, no, they've already have called it a strike.
A pitch
Yeah, they
isn't
call
thrown.
it before the pitch.
Yeah, because if you
It was
one-
kind of ridiculous. The one game ending on one of those. Did you see that?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
it was Boston and Atlanta.
But
Atlanta, yeah.
it's
The
also
winning
an
run
it's
scored.
also an exhibition game, so who
Yes.
cares? But that what is going to be interesting is now somebody said that the one that they ended the umpire was so excited to end the game that way that the catcher was still standing up, so that they shouldn't have. It shouldn't have. The catcher should have been penalized too.
No, the other way around. The catcher can stand as long as he's in his spot. The catcher can either stand or be down in his crouch, and that counts on the timer.
Okay,
Joe, you taking notes?
so
This is marketing. This is lame.
Pathetic.
Oh yes, it is.
Stupid.
Yeah, but the sport definitely needs
Why?
marketing.
Because they become idiots.
No,
they're all
'cause
idiots.
The damn game takes 3 hours and
Because they're
25
idiots.
minutes.
So
yeah,
what?
But you can't.
It's
You
baseball.
know, what are you going to do? You're going to take baseball players, and say get smart all of a sudden. You know, Yogi. Look at Yogi. Did you ever hear Yogi speak? Yeah. Did you ever hear Yogi? Didn't know what planet
Nobody
he was
goes
on.
there
He's in the
anymore.
Hall
It's
of
too
Fame.
crowded.
Yes. But if you see Yogi in the 1960 World Series.
Yeah.
When he's ahead 3-1 in the count,
Yep.
and the guy throws him a ball over his head, he swings at it. Right. That was the difference. That was the difference.
You're here for one reason.
Someone did. I don't know if it was Super 70s, but someone said they had the picture of Earl with the hat off, and it was in regards to the end of that Boston
Oh, yeah, then
game
he'd
that was
still be
called.
out there screaming.
He said, Earl means business when the hat comes off.
Earl would come out with a baseball bat and smash the shot clock.
Yes, that's true.
He would.
He might have. What am I tell it again? The night of the Butch Weiniger drowning
The
in
ear
the moth.
thing, yeah.
My favorite night ever at a ballpark, Memorial Stadium. We had to drown the moth in Butch's ear, and Earl got in a big argument, and he got thrown out. And then he laid down between the home plate and the pitcher's mound and had to be carried off by security.
God, I love that. Next time I get fired, that's what I'm going to do.
Well, Earl, the thing about Earl
Didn't he
is-
cross his arms on
Yes,
his chest
yeah,
like this?
Earl was 5'6". You know, Earl
Yeah.
was 5'6". He's easy to
Diminutive.
carry.
Yeah.
Oh God, I loved him. He's my favorite guy.
Yep.
Oh God, I loved him. I would have given. I wish I'd known him better when would have gotten invited to one of his meals at Charlie's. The Baltimore writers were just terrified of the one night a year that Earl would take them to dinner, and it was usually at Charlie's in Minneapolis. And that's the night he said to the 78-year-old waitress, "Hey, honey, before you die, bring me 3 Manhattans or something." And He was only half tuned up at the time.
Oh God! Hey,
Can we
honey.
can we move along so John and I can get out of here? I just want to say, Royce, you have the courage to go where I am completely. I'm a sissy. I so wanted to do what you did last week, and I couldn't do it, and I had a hard time living with myself.
What'd he do?
And you did it for me. Thank you, sir. You are the master.
What'd you do?
I
Got ashes?
basically downplayed the meteorologists.
Oh, yeah.
The fact that they were trying to strike this. They basically promised us Armageddon
You
Yeah.
riled some feathers.
and gave us
Yeah.
I'll say.
inconvenience. Now, I guess down south it was a little worse.
Right.
But where was the wind that was going to knock my power out?
Yeah.
There was going to be the wind. If I was extremely fearful that at least one tree would go through my house.
Right.
And not to mention knock out every other
Right.
power line.
Yeah, for
And it
weeks.
was a
Yeah.
little snow.
Yeah, it
You
was
know what
February.
else? It cost me money.
Yeah.
I hired the two kids, the girls up in the cul-de-sac to shovel my walk whenever it needed it during this 40-inch blizzard.
Right.
And I promised them $20 a pop. Cost me $80. A couple of times I could have shoveled it myself.
That's
It was
right.
Well,
What
nobody
would
wants
a,
to. We don't want to see that.
What would a tree through the front window have done for the game of flaws?
I don't know.
That would have been your fault.
The governor declared an emergency. The mayor of Minneapolis told people to stay home.
Oh, yes. 3 days. The greatest quote I heard, I can't remember, was, "Your lives are going to be affected in a very different way the
Yep.
next
Yeah.
3
I
days."
saw that, too.
Yeah, the next
It's
3
a
days.
life-changing story.
Life changing.
Yeah.
And it was. Now they're all saying, "Well, by Tuesday we were listening." That's all right. You terrified us all on Monday. They were canceling school.
Yep.
Who'd I talk to? I talked to somebody today that Minneapolis canceled school.
Yep.
They had Monday and Tuesday off for teachers.
Well,
stuff.
Mondays was President's Day.
Yeah, President's Day. And then they had Tuesday off for the old, we're going to have meetings.
Yeah.
And then he just took the whole week off.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday because this storm was going to be, we couldn't have.
Somebody called it a spring break warm up. You know, this is the practice. Spring break.
Goes
practice.
back years, but my favorite remains outward bound classes canceled.
Yes.
Okay, outward bound, the whole point is to survive this kind of stuff.
Well, how about a couple of weeks ago when it got to 20 below and I don't know what town, it might have been Golden Valley. They closed the warming house at the rink because it was too cold.
Yeah,
Oh,
too
wait a
cold
minute.
in the warming
Wait,
house.
wait, what?
I didn't see that one, but it was, it was an overrated storm. What's wrong with saying that?
No, it was terribly
The
overrated.
people went all crazy. I don't know Seth Kaplan, but he basically wanted me dragged through the streets of Minneapolis.
These guys not familiar with Royce's MO.
Agitate.
I wasn't. I mean, I was.
Oh,
serious.
you were sticking the needle.
Oh, yes, after a while. Then when they started responding to me. But my original tweet, I stand by it. And by the way, thanks to these guys, I don't know what a impression is on Twitter, but my first tweet about it had 362,000 impressions.
That's
and if they would have
success.
just left me alone, it would have had 4,000 or
Yeah.
something like that. But when they started screaming at me,
You and Kenny are the only two people I know that get mad when people pay attention to what you tweet
Yeah,
about.
what I do is I just erase the tweet so I don't have to deal with all these idiots retweeting. Yeah,
oh, they're just setting you up for an opportunity to needle them about a few other things. Is all.
I have a meme in my saved memes specifically for Pat's Twitter account. It's just a little fisherman throwing a line out.
Casting. He's just
Well,
casting.
I wasn't. It wasn't a big fisher. I wasn't fishing for it at first, but of course, all the responses then
It
were.
prompted you to do so.
and that's when I get really happy because it's like, oh, into the trap. Even,
Now that we got them, we might as well keep them hooked for goodness. But
Yep.
what was instructive is how much of the public wants to believe the meteorologists,
Yeah.
and shouldn't we all be safe? Well, not unless it's going to snow and blow. Then I don't want to be safe.
I wanted the storm to hit because I love big storms.
Sure.
So I was just disappointed that we didn't get the big one.
I'm still trying to find the damn thing.
Oh, my God. That one? That was just, I don't know.
6 days ago, you're going to try to look that one up?
No,
Joe goes out to California and from California tweets about the storm and how it wasn't what he expected.
Meanwhile, his flight got delayed.
Did you have to spend an extra day out in San Diego?
Listen to this one. If you weren't such a grumpy, bitter old guy, you might have made the cut. Royce says, listen, jerk. I'll have you know I've been named Minnesota's co-sports writer twice in a mere 54 years at the Twin Cities.
If they don't get the joke in that, come on.
God. Listen,
Actually,
jerk.
I got a response from this guy. He thought it was great. So anyway, that's good. Hey, I'm glad you guys are here. I got something else to really complain about.
Here we go.
Have you gone to a restaurant lately?
Oh, I know where you're going.
And
I got to weigh in.
Ordered a Caesar salad.
Yes, that's all I get.
Caesar salad.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
Yeah, sure.
These new, fresh, non-stinky anchovies.
Are they white? Are they the white ones?
White ones. They're terrible.
Yeah, they taste like a
Nothing.
herring.
They're nothing.
Yeah.
They're nothing. You order an anchovy to test your manhood, for God's sake. They stink, but they're delicious. They take over the entire plate, the whole thing. And
I asked for extra anchovies.
Everybody has these new white ones.
Yep, I don't like
What
it.
the hell? Who came up with this idea?
I don't like it.
Really irritated me yesterday.
I don't think I've ever had an anchovy. I enjoy sardines and oysters.
Sure.
But I never had
How
an
about
anchovy.
smoked oysters in the can?
Oh,
What
I eat
the
'em with my
bleep happened to
fingers.
30-mile-an-hour winds that could topple power lines and leave us with zero heat in the dark like a metro area full of Aaron Rodgers? The meteorologists were out of this game faster than the Gophers versus Maryland.
How many people did you cover there? NFL, UFL.
That is a wide-ranging cheap shot, is what that is.
Yes, that was.
You promised us several hours of Johan Duran throwing rockets and gave us Trevor Hildenberger side-arming change-ups. I believe it's incumbent on A.G. Ellison to launch investigation into whether you were paid off by TC grocery chains and mega hardware stores.
I can't believe that people took that one seriously.
Memo to TC meteorologists. Make whatever excuse you want. This was a humiliating loss. You promised Armageddon and delivered inconvenience. You got knocked out early with that pissant first wave, but pompously declared we were going to be blown away by massive storm to follow.
That was the first one. That wasn't.
Yeah. The first one, they had reporters out driving around in cars showing us how bad the traffic was.
Yeah.
The traffic was awesome.
Traffic moving along.
Yeah, it was moving just fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of people. Some guy says, I'm at Lake Nokomis. I've been shoveling out here in the driveway for 2 hours, blah, blah, blah. And I said, don't be so cheap. Hire the neighborhood kids that have been home for 2 days. Hire some of the neighborhood kids that have been home for 2 days.
And then some sap writes, but Minnesota still got a pretty good amount. So even though the number wasn't exactly perfect, what the hell is wrong with these people?
Hauser was one of my number one critics.
I was really surprised about that.
Yeah, I was too. But what the hell?
I have no problem with any meteorologist, whether they're affiliated with Hubbard Broadcasting or not. For the record. For the
Atta
record.
boy, Chris.
Wow.
Well, I know what you mean.
Listen to this.
No, I think obviously when it's great for local TV when something like this occurs.
Well, I was monitoring. It would have been Wednesday or Thursday. Can't remember. But they went wall to wall the entire morning show. That's all they did was covered the weather. They didn't do any other story.
Yep.
Which I thought was a bit much.
Well, to see that we had Denny. Denny could have showed us how that Calcutta
Calcutta,
Clipper was
yeah,
going to hit the Abilene storm, and it was going to, it was all going to get together and go like that.
Who did the Timberwolves?
Pick up the Calcutta Clipper, swings down, Swings up,
Yep.
lakefront influence, and out.
Yep.
Who did the Timberwolves play before last night's game? They played
terrible Carolina, Charlotte,
Charlotte.
and they lost.
and they lost. And then
Okay.
last night they played Golden State, which didn't play its three best players basically,
And lost. Okay.
They're done.
But here's what I don't pay. I can't take the league seriously. It's after they lost to Charlotte,
Yes.
the coach said, and I thought he was pretty brave saying this because he was writing his own firing papers. He said, "Well, we had no urgency." Well, why didn't you?
Yes.
That's on you, Coach.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's
I don't think they try hard.
they got some issues, but the cat, he's only missed. How many they played now? How many they played?
What
16.
a bad guy he's turned out
He
to
played
be.
21 games. He left after game 21. So he's missed.
He's on the road with them.
He missed 43, 44 games with a strained calf, which was a grade 3, not a grade 2. But
Grade 3,
a grade 3, yes. Not a grade 2.
not a grade 2.
But they
What's wrong?
basically,
Why
the
won't he
coach
play?
has basically made it clear he can play anytime he wants to now. There's nobody telling him to hold himself back. But
Well, what a bad guy. He's taking the money. This is pathetic.
yeah, he's.
Obviously, he wants out of here. Get rid of him.
Well, they can't trade him till July because of his contract situation. And Joe, he's got a contract that pays him for the life of it $230 million. So there's not going to be a big. Remember when Richard Pryor talked about dying?
Yes.
And he talked about dying just normally,
Yeah.
And then he talked about dying like his dad did, having sexual relations with an 18-year-old.
Right.
And he said, when I die, I want to be in that long line,
Yeah.
The Wolves are not going to have a long line waiting. That's a big, long reach to get there.
I don't care.
But Cat's going to be the attempt to acquire Cat's going to
not
be the
gonna be a
short
long
line. It's
line.
not going to be in the long line. They're going to be in the short line. I think that might have been Pryor's best joke ever. But
What a
good.
display of poor character. I just don't get it.
no, and one other problem is Anthony keeps trying, but he hasn't been making his shots lately.
He
so
was
that's-
not very good last night.
That's not his problem. But the good thing is, they're not going to finish in the top 10 and even be in the play-out game. But we get a draft choice as recently as 2024, so that's
boy.
good. This draft choice, which they thought was going to be about 18th, 19th, or 20th this year, could be 3. So when they get in the lottery for Utah.
And our Wild have turned it around.
They got it. You know what, Joe? There is no debate as to who the greatest NHL hockey player in the history of Minnesota has been. It's the Ruski.
I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
He did have a pure hat trick.
You have a guy who's one of the top 5 players in the NHL. We have never had that.
That's
We've
true.
never had a guy who was one of
That's
the top
true.
5. He might be top 3. Austin Matthews, Connor McDavid, and him.
You know what he is? He's the guy I said we always need.
Yes. Oh, he is
He's
the
the
guy.
guy.
And he's got to be kicking himself for taking the deal he took here, man.
He took short money.
Well,
didn't
didn't he have to do that though because of isn't that the entry level deal or whatever?
I don't know.
Yeah, but he could have just played it. He could have not signed. Then they could have. They could
gotcha.
have paid him a lot less money the next year.
Got it. Okay.
But he could have played himself out to free agency. One more. I'd have one more request of him though. Don't go home to Mother Russia this summer. Now stay here. See if you can get the folks to come
Somehow
and
get your family here.
come on. See if the folks can come and visit if they promise to return.
But you know what he does? He likes to go to Siberia and fish with his buddies. I mean, he goes up to the.
Yeah, we can find him a
We
place
can
to
find him
fish.
a
Yeah,
lake.
Hudson Bay, Yeah, it's kind of like we can get you a place to fish. We can find fish. We can find you.
We
do
got
fish.
We got you taken
We
care
can get
of.
you fish.
Yeah.
Don't go back. You're right. Don't go back. Don't go back to Rockville and waste another day.
I do not think and there's no sense in stopping and pausing all the time to rehash this. But there has never been a more successful franchise in the Twin Cities than the Minnesota Wild.
In terms
Not
of drawing
winning and
people,
losing,
you mean?
and to have the one time the honeymoon was over, they signed Suter and Parisi and reinforced the honeymoon. They have had, now they came in 99, 2000, right? Mm-hmm. And they didn't play 1 year, so that's, 22 years? It's unbelievable. They play a Sunday afternoon game
19,000.
this time of year. People are breaking down the doors to come in and pay $120 a ticket or something like that, and stop by in the pandemonium of the merchandise shop to buy jerseys.
Right.
So
It is
It's
amazing.
an amazing success story.
I hope it doesn't end. I hope he doesn't want to. I hope Craig doesn't want to. What's their long-term commitment to St. Paul? I fear that the city is going to.
Why would he leave?
Oh, the city is. There's nothing there. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
them.
what does he care?
It's them.
What's he care?
I hope you're right.
He owns a restaurant next door, and he
Does he own the Herb Brooks deal?
Yeah, that's him.
All right.
And he got people coming to town.
Plus, he's a hockey guy. You know what I mean? He's not an owner that owns a team. He loves hockey.
And I
Well, they love hockey in Quebec too.
Somebody at Sid's memorial service should have mentioned that this was the guy that said they'd have to move back to Minneapolis because nobody would go to St. Paul to watch a game. Somebody should have mentioned that. East Germany has done okay as the host of the hockey team.
They have, and I just hope that doesn't. I hope the deterioration of the city does not impact that.
We're having a little violence. You're having a more violence problem with the teens than Minneapolis is.
Got
right?
some gang. They're not gang members.
No, it's
though.
group-involved
They're
activity.
Group-involved individuals.
Group involved.
We don't
okay.
call them gang
Okay,
members.
now the paper doesn't, or the city
The
does.
city doesn't. They're group-involved individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Pat will know. Patrick, who was, I think he works for your paper, the guy that had the greatest line about the girls' hockey tournament that we're going to parade down the streets of Gentry this weekend.
Yeah, Brian.
What's Brian's last name?
Brian Stensis.
Okay, he had
He said
the
that with
greatest line.
The Gentry parade around the Van Nuys Heights Arena, and then it's kind of like when the New Jersey Devils had their Stanley Cup. They had it in the parking lot. They went around the parking lot. They can go around the school building now too, which is the size of the studio here.
Okay.
It's basically online classes.
Well, how come the boys hockey team is? I don't hear of them.
They're good. They're gonna.
Are they?
I don't know if they made the state tournament or not. Did they?
I don't know.
They're
Well,
not
they
as
should.
good as
Why,
When is the
why
state
are they
tournament?
involved? They shouldn't be involved.
They're a charter school.
I got
They're
your
a charter school,
right
and the
here.
high school league let charter schools in 10 or 12 years ago. So what are they going to do? Say, this one we're
I'd
not
like to
letting
thank
in?
my mom in California.
Yeah. Great line on that, though. Somebody on Twitter. At least Gentry can keep their recruits from California, unlike the Gophers basketball team.
Wow.
What a wonderful cheap shot. Sometimes as a cheap shot artist, I get jealous, and that was a.
You didn't think of it?
That was a jealous. That was a.
Hey,
moment
when
of
is the
jealousy.
boys tournament?
Next week.
This coming week?
This week, right?
No, usually wrestling.
Oh yeah, you're right. 2
got
weeks. Yeah,
wrestling
they're
first.
starting. They're choosing their finalists this week.
Do
Then
we
you got
have?
wrestling.
We don't have the field set yet, do we?
No. It's this week. I'm wrong. Wrestling is this week.
Because
All
it goes,
right.
it goes girls, wrestling, boys, and then the basketball tournaments.
I had, by the way, I'm going to do something on wrestling for Wednesday and its family connection and stuff. I've been always trying to figure out why wrestling is so generational, and it finally occurred to me
Okay.
because if you're not indoctrinated into it when you're 7, You're never going to say.
No, you want nothing
you're
to
never
do with
gonna
it.
say,
No.
I want to do this.
I want to give it a shot.
I want to be 12 years old and have to go in and spit for 3 hours to get to a different weight class, and I got to wrestle in the heat every day.
Yep.
And nobody's going to wrestle unless they got the dad and the mom who told them this is great. It gives you a chance to test your manhood and now your womanhood too. And
Case in point.
that's why we have wrestling towns.
Case in point.
Faribault, right?
Faribault was a great wrestling town. So we were deciding what to do with the 8-year-old for the winter.
Wrestle him.
Because they didn't have a basketball league for him, and she says, "Well, Jordan is combined with Belle Plaine. It's called Scott West Wrestling. That's their
Okay, yeah, they're they're a powerhouse.
There you are." And so they start him young.
Yeah.
And so we had signed him up like, "Oh, he's pretty physical and likes to because he loves football." And we got the email from the coach, and I went, "We ain't signing him up for wrestling."
Oh, really?
Well,
What-
because we knew this was just something to get him.
Yeah, this was what you needed to do, huh?
Oh my God, I couldn't believe it. And I thought, okay, he's 8.
Yes.
And then I thought, and then again, they have great structure. I'm not ripping them. I'm
No,
just
no.
saying this is way too
Do high
too
school
much.
girls wrestle boys?
No, not anymore. They
got their own club?
They've started a girls wrestling tournament. Don't they? I think they have a girls wrestling tournament now.
I
But
never
yeah,
liked
they
that.
have. They actually have some of these programs. They've had girls in the state wrestling tournament in some of the lighter weight classes.
On the occasion of having covered wrestling, I didn't go for it that much. I didn't like it that much.
Oh, I love the characters in it, but
Yeah.
I miss the ears, man. Now they did all the headsets. 25 years ago, they all had ears. that
Yeah.
were
The cauliflower ears.
Like a baby's fist. They all had the ears.
To the point where we had
Billy Pierce.
We had 2 state champions in our senior class, and it was Josh Cagle and Ben Bauer. I don't know if you remember those names at all, but both were great wrestlers. They both wrestled at Augsburg in college, and
Yeah.
Josh and I were in some advanced classes together. And the teacher would ask a question. I go, "Hold on, Josh," and he would sit next to me, and I'd say it louder. He can't hear you. He's got shut up, Reavers, because he's got the bad ears.
It's been a while. It's been 20-some years since we had we were going to have the NCAA wrestling here at the
Ziggy.
At the Ziggy,
Yep.
but it was canceled by
COVID, yeah.
But we had it here like 20 years ago at Target Center, and they're all
They packed him in.
yeah. But all the 60-year-old guys still walking like this. They're all, they're walking down the hall like 60 years later. They're all
Hunched up.
They all have that swing of the arms that the wrestlers have. I love those guys. When I was in St. Cloud 100 years ago, we had both the state private school wrestling tournament and the state public school wrestling tournament on back-to-back weeks. We covered the hell out of it.
Sure.
I remember our guy Dick Putz threw a party for the wrestling coaches at the Legion Club. Mm-hmm. It was unbelievable. They had beef and beer, and it was swimming on the floor of the whole place. And there were 250 drunk wrestling coaches in there with a variety of sports writers. What a gang. What a gang of reprobates. It was great.
This is in St. Cloud.
Yeah, back then. But wrestling is. Hey, you gave an accolade, and I missed the story to my pal Kelly Maynard. How about that?
I know her peripherally.
Yes, she goes to your church.
Yeah. Yeah, good for her.
She's been a part-time. She was a full-timer, and then I think she was a full-timer on her desk for a while.
She
and then
ever
quit to
done your
become
stuff, edited your stuff?
Oh, yeah. She once in a while give you a call at home and ask her. Great kid. And, she gave a kidney to a stranger.
Complete stranger.
How about that?
I didn't know she was a sports copy guy.
Yeah, gosh, she was on the sports copy desk. She still comes in and works weekends and part-time and stuff.
Really?
But she's a nurse now, too, huh?
Yeah.
Because I know she was part-time, and I didn't, you don't see anybody in the office anymore. Of course, you don't have
you
an
know
office.
where your office is?
I do know where my office
Well, that's
is.
a notch up from
We don't,
Joe.
I don't know where
They
ours is.
basically, the Star Tribune, by the way, said the office was shut on Wednesday.
Oh, really?
For the foreseeable
Imagine
future.
that.
Because
a
of
newspaper having to shut.
Afraid of this horrendous winter.
Oh, Armageddon.
And my response was, how are we going to know the difference
Right.
since we still allow people
Are you
to
in
work
the-
at home?
What building is that you're in?
It's the old it's the Capitol Towers building. It's
What floor do you have?
We have 11, 12, and 13.
You have 3 floors.
Yes.
Wow.
You want to rent 2.5 of them? You could. I think
You guys have
I
3
think-
floors.
I think Glenn will make you a deal if you want to.
We got something over there on Water Street, but I think it's just where the computer.
Is it a
people
P.O.
are.
box or
I
something?
don't know.
was.
I haven't seen it.
The rumor was that they spent several million
Uh-huh.
to remodel those 3 floors to connect them and everything too.
And
So
nobody's there.
nobody's there.
You got
And
3 floors. Wow.
Yeah, there's 7, 8 people in there most days if you should go in. I used to go in quite a bit. I haven't been in a couple of
I
weeks.
think
but
before we disappeared, we had 2 floors.
Okay.
And then the 1 floor, we got to 1, and I'm not making any of this up. Then the 1 got kind of shoved down to the end.
Condensed.
So they
condensed.
didn't have to have the heat going.
So
basically.
condensed to about the size of this studio. And then it disappeared.
And you lost
completely.
your prize was a
I
dictionary?
had a nice dictionary. I went to get it, and the guy said, "You moved." I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "You're not here anymore." I said, "Where are you? Where are we?" He said, "I don't know."
You must have not received that email, huh?
Like
I probably
Breslin.
did.
Breslin, I went down the street to see what was closing, and it was my joint.
Yeah.
It was the newspaper.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Who was the guy that said I'm essential? Speaking of snowstorms in
That
the
was
newspaper,
Breslin.
it
wrote
was
that
Breslin.
column during the
Okay,
Lindsay administration.
okay.
Yeah.
John Lindsay, remember that guy?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, the mayor.
He was a left-wing Republican.
Yeah, and no non-essential worker should come into the city. And Breslin got up and straightened his tie, looked in the mirror, and said, "I'm very essential."
What was that about? What was Lindsay? Because when
No,
they
it
were
was a snowstorm.
Oh, really?
That's what I thought. Yeah, I thought it was a snowstorm.
Oh, I thought maybe it was when they were bankrupt or something.
No, I think it was a snowstorm.
Who was it that wouldn't give him any money? Jerry Ford, right? Was it?
Yeah, Jerry, a Ford to New York, dropped dead. Remember that?
Dead, yeah. That was the 70s. You know, you see all the old tape and stuff of the 70s in New York. I was stumbling around drunk in New York in the 70s at 3 o'clock in the morning. I didn't feel that threatened.
No.
You know?
I thought you were warned off to Diet Coke.
I was.
You're not paying attention?
Well, I'm
You said
cutting
you
down.
need a new doctor.
He's cut back.
Down.
He's
I
cut
need
back.
a new doctor. Oh, man, I got a new doctor. She's tough.
Yeah.
She's
How
tough.
tough is she? It's all like a Rodney Dangerfield
She's
thing.
tough.
Hey, I got a new doctor. She's tough.
Yeah, my dad. She's tough.
She's tough.
She's very upset about my B12, and I
yeah?
haven't been taking that. I think I was supposed to be taking.
What's that do for
That's
you?
good for energy.
It's good for
All
a lot
sorts
of
of
stuff,
stuff. Yep.
apparently. Yeah.
I gotta
You
start
should be
taking
taking that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm supposed to.
she's,
And the fish oil. You need to be taking the
I
fish
don't
oil.
do that. I eat enough fish.
Okay. Well, okay. Good.
Anyway,
Well, they got the oil.
I would have been eating anchovies yesterday, but they gave me the white
That's part of my notes.
You
to
know,
put.
now that you mention it, the white ones do have a very modest taste
It's terrible.
compared to the
terrible.
old
It's
dark
nothing.
slimy deals.
Nothing.
Yeah.
You gotta have the anchovies that you can smell when they're still
Right.
12 feet away from the table.
Right.
You know?
like the fish Rookie brought in the frozen thing at the Sprint store. Remember, fresh out of the Gulf.
Yeah, right.
At that dollar store?
Yeah,
You would have died if you had one.
And that's not only did you not eat it,
Yeah,
you made him
was-
throw it
Well, didn't you
outside.
take Didn't you take something home?
Were they sardines or smoked oysters?
I thought
One of
Oysters.
One
You
of the
took
two.
them home.
No,
You took the
No, you
oysters
guys
home.
made him throw it away in the parking lot.
Pat
garbage.
said he'd take something.
Oh,
I thought you
No,
took
not
because the
those.
DA was gone. You were going to have oysters.
No, I'm not a smoked oysters
He's
guy.
shaking
But I
the
do
frozen
like,
bag
I used to
saying-
like sardines, but I don't.
Well, I
you
love
don't-
sardines.
You don't see them anymore.
fresh out of the Gulf, he says.
Well, the smoked oysters have a little context to them, right? They're not like real oysters that are slimy.
So, remember when we went up there?
Where?
That place that was next to the dollar store up there.
Yeah,
That was
mall.
Super Bowl
I
week.
go up my chow mein joints up there, Gin's.
Yeah.
It's up there, and that's an interesting mall there.
I'll say.
On Bass Lake Road and West Broadway, and I had a friend of mine complaining about his first visit to the orthodontist for his 2 daughters. you know.
Orthodontist?
Orthodontist, and he He went to an orthodontist in the
What word did you just say? Because it wasn't
orthodontia.
Ophthalmology.
orthodontia.
What orthodontist, and he said that they went to a dentist near Wayzata. They don't live in Wayzata, but they were a little alarmed at the prices, and he says they might have to go to a lower income neighborhood. So there's a place out there in that mall, a dental shop, and I sent him a photo, and I said, I got just the guy for you. Save $2,000 easy out here. Come on out. Come on out. You could.
You can go to the dollar store.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you can take a break and go to the dollar
How does that
store.
stuff pass federal safety laws?
It's fine.
I don't know.
I thought we had a food deal, a FAA.
FDA.
FDA,
we
yeah.
used to have those. Anyway,
All
it was how was your trip?
Got out of there before it turned 45 degrees.
What happened?
Oh, they got a terrible snowstorm. They were getting snow
Up in
in
the hills?
elevations as low as 1,500 feet.
Did you see the photos of the L.A. River?
Yeah.
They always have these chases in the movies,
Yep.
where they're driving, chasing each other in the river.
She was overflowing.
Raging damn torrent river.
They're getting water. They just got to figure out how not to screw it up and hang
what are
on to
they-
it.
I
what are
trust
they-
them.
I
What
don't.
are they saying here? What are they saying? They're probably going to tell us
Climate change.
didn't help the drought.
No, they're going to find some
Something
bug that has to
it
be
didn't help the
protected.
drought anyway because it all ran off
Right,
or something. The ground was so hard. or
That's going to
something.
help the drought. They're getting inundated.
Yes, yeah, but I saw some. They had a great thing on Twitter, a video of a guy trying to drive his Porsche on one of the freeways.
Oh,
that was
yeah, and he got-
flooded. Did you
he got-
see that guy?
yeah, he got bottomed out.
Standing on his Porsche.
Was it floating?
No, but it killed because it was.
Yeah. Well,
but
he's
it
a
was-
moron.
He
it was-
is.
It was. He had the top down. It was already like up to his door.
It was an amphicar.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's like when you forgot to put the top up in Fort Myers. Didn't you get? Isn't that what happened?
Yes, that was. Who said that to me? Somebody said to me. I think it
You were
was
the only
Derek-
guy I know who took a car to a car wash to have it dried out.
Yes, Derek Wetmore. I believe.
That's what it was.
You
It was
still
Derek.
have that car?
No, so that for way less
Peanuts.
than I should have gotten.
But you know why? You don't like paperwork.
I didn't like paperwork, and I didn't want to drive 1,700
Right.
miles, bring it back here again. But yeah, it's a gorgeous morning down there, like 8:30 in the morning, and I said, I'm not even going to put the top up. It's so nice. And I trust my fellow man because it wasn't exhibition games then. Yeah, it was just
It was still early. Yeah.
just people wandering in. Wetmore's down there, and it's torrent is falling in the press box about 10:30. And he says, "Sure hope you put the top up." I go, "Ah!" I go running down. These people are out there laughing as they, and there's this much water in the damn thing.
Oh, God.
I immediately get into it and drive it to the car wash and said, "I want you to dry this one out." And it took a few days.
Had
but,
they encountered that kind of customer before?
I don't believe they did think it was unusual. To say the least.
That'll happen.
I didn't know where to go.
Did it ever return to a normal car smell?
I don't know. It sat in the garage all the time for 9 months.
Oh,
so
then-
it would.
Did it get moldy?
Had a little musty smell to it. Anyway, I had the trickle battery on it. Though.
Oh, yeah, that boy.
Because somebody said,
Yeah.
I said, "What do I got to do?" And they said, "You got to put the trickle battery."
Right.
But I also owned it for 6 years. Had to buy 2 different batteries because the
Batteries.
crust would, the mold would get on the connection down there because it was so humid in the garage.
That's
It was 100 degrees
yeah.
in the garage. What are you going to do?
Yeah. All right.
Is that going to do it?
Alrighty.
That's enough.
Okay.
Are we done?
I
Boy,
think
that
so.
was a good show.
We spanned the globe on that one. All right.
Yes, we did. You have heard me discuss my relationship with Josh Arnold for some time. The reason I advocate that you give Josh a call is simple. trust, and results. Josh has seen it all when it comes to economic and market conditions. As has been said, through all of our relationship, past results do not guarantee future returns. And while that is true, Josh can make sure that your retirement objectives match your investments. You can understand that Josh will make sure you are not paying more in fees than you are seeing in returns. Yes, that is more common than you would like to think. Do yourself a favor and have a booking with Josh for the 48-minute free evaluation. This is a no-obligation meeting. Call Josh at 952-925-5608. You will be glad that you did.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice.
Patrick Royce is a paid endorser.
This is Ricey for the Canopy Group. We are coming up on St. Patrick's Day, the luck of the Irish. You know that. Do you make practical decisions based on being lucky? Do you have one agent representing only one company for your home and auto insurance? Are you hoping they are lucky enough to have the best coverage at the best price with a single source? At the Canopy Group, we wish you the best of luck, but we also believe you deserve more than luck when it comes to your home and auto insurance. You need to rely on a process. The Canopy Group process carefully selects 40 professionals and hand selects 16 companies to run thousands of different insurance scenarios each month. This due diligence and hard work results in the best coverage at the best price for Canopy clients. No luck involved, just a disciplined and dedicated approach to serving you. Remember, new clients enjoy an average savings of over $800 annually. Contact the Canopy Group today at 800-967-3389 or visit them online at thecanopygroup.com.